Alright, what's happening, y'all? Today we're going to talk about Team USA. Obviously, if you live under a rock, the Olympics are going on, and our lovely Team USA is now part of those Olympics for basketball, obviously. And they've been making headlines recently, but not necessarily for the best reasons. They've lost like 3 of their last 4, I think. The last one being the first game of the group stage, I think, in the to start the World Cup play of basketball. Let me just preface this. For as long as I've been alive, I'm 20 years old. Team USA has always been, I guess the words I'd use are probably utterly dominant in terms of international play. Obviously, there was the 2004 team, I guess, the one that got like bronze in the Olympics, which it's crazy to say that that's like, like a bad result getting bronze. But I mean, I think I looked it up, over the last 30 years since Team USA has been allowing the NBA players to actually play on Team USA, they've won every gold medal in the Olympics, other than 2004, obviously. But this team in 2021 is not looking the part, I guess. And there's a few reasons for that. Reasons I'm going to go over in this video. There's obviously going to be things to look forward to and adjust to. Maybe not in this Olympics itself, but definitely in the future, looking forward. So yeah, let's start with that. So if you just asked like a random person, someone that didn't really know about basketball, who was on this year's Team USA, you'd probably get answers like, I don't know, Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. But obviously, if you looked at the team this year, only one of those names is playing for Team USA. That's Kevin Durant, obviously. And that's kind of the first, I guess, issue I want to get into with this team, with Team USA as a whole. We haven't gotten the star power that we usually get in these Olympic competitions. You think of '08, you have players like LeBron, Carmelo Anthony, like Dwayne Wade, Kobe Bryant. These players are all in their prime, and they're at the top of their game in the NBA and obviously overseas, well, not overseas, but internationally. And over the past probably 5 or 6 years, we haven't gotten the same, or Team USA hasn't gotten the same pull of these players that they're usually getting. They're usually headline players like, I know this year there's like Damian Lillard, Paul George, well, not Paul George this year. Players like Paul George, Jason Tatum, etc. Players like that, like not necessarily upper echelon of players, but they're players that you still like when you're going into international competition. You still expect them to, produce at a high level. They're going to be like the best players on the floor regardless. So that's kind of the first, I guess, issue. I guess it's the players and lacking the draw of larger, more established stars in these international tournaments and things like that, international games and such. Moving on, I guess we'll move on towards, we'll go into coaching. Since around 2003 or 4, after the bronze finish in Athens in the Olympics, Coach K became the coach of Team USA. Coach K, coaches for Duke, obviously. I'm not even going to pronounce his last name. Don't ask. Not happening. But obviously under him, we would win gold. We'd go on to win gold in all these Olympics, all these FIBA World Cups and stuff like that. I guess after 2016, that's when he relinquished his head coaching tenure, I guess, and it since gone on to Greg Popovich, coach of the Spurs. And in the recent years, I guess this kind of has to do with the coaching, or not the coaching, the players not playing, I guess. The product of Team USA basketball has declined. I'm not saying it's on him, because honestly, I couldn't tell you what the coaching philosophies, how the coaching philosophies differed between Coach K and Greg Popovich. But I mean, you're the coach of the team. You're gonna have to get some slack. But I know we finished as a country. Finished in 2017 or 2019 in 7th place at the FIBA World Cup, which I mean, it's the FIBA World Cup. It's not the Olympics. People, obviously when I talk about the Olympics, Greg Popovich deserves some of the blame, because obviously he's coaching the team. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna say all the blame falls on him, but you gotta look to someone. Someone's gotta get the blame. Let's just move on. So we're gonna move on. Let's talk about the makeup of this team a little bit. For those of you that don't know, FIBA basketball is different than the NBA. There are some different rules. Like the quarter's only 10 minutes. There's like, I think you can get like offensive interference. It's more minute stuff. It's not like a totally big culture shock, I guess, in terms of the way that the games are played. But the FIBA style, it's more advantageous, I guess. Advantageous is the word I'd use, to play like more team basketball, and a lot of the teams are predicated on like defense, verticality, stuff like that. And in previous years, Team USA would be so star-studded, and so the gap between USA and the other teams they'd be playing would be monumental. It wouldn't, like, the style of play wouldn't really matter. It's becoming more and more apparent over the games, over the recent games, the last 4 games, that the makeup... No, I'm not even going to go into that. The style of play that I guess this does go into the makeup too. The style of play that Team USA is playing in this Olympics is more of like an ISO style of play, and you can see that with the players that they have. They have Jason Tatum, they have Kevin Durant, obviously Zach LaVine. Those are players, and Damian Lillard, players that are bucket getters. The Team USA doesn't have any like playmakers, and on the other side of the ball, they're not like a physical team, I guess. Like before they got JaVale McGee, because Kevin Love and what's his name, Bradley Beal, I guess Bradley Beal had COVID or whatever, COVID complications. Kevin Love said he was recovering from injury, whatever. They picked up then JaVale McGee, which weird move, by the way. Like, I mean, JaVale McGee's never, whatever. I'm not going to get into that. JaVale McGee's never been a player I'd think would be an Olympian, but nevertheless, Team USA only had like one true center in Vegas where they were doing like the preseason stuff. That was Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo's like 6'9", 6'10" at center. And you're playing players like Rudy Gobert with France. I don't know. There's other obviously tall players that play for international teams, but trotting your lineup out with like Bam Adebayo being the biggest player on your team, it's a bit of a risk, and obviously it hasn't really worked out well for Team USA. But, and I'm not trying to downplay, before I go any further, I'm not trying to downplay any of these international teams, because the international game is growing, and that is obviously a very good thing. I kind of covered it in the last video a little bit, how the game itself is growing, not just in USA, but all over the country. You see players like Luka, you see players like Giannis. Their international players are flooding the game more than I think we've probably ever seen. And obviously the talent gap, I guess, has decreased a little bit, but at the end of the day, Team USA should be, I mean, and they still are trotting out the 15 probably pound for pound best players that could be playing in the Olympics. I don't know. I honestly don't know what other countries made the Olympics. But whenever Team USA is on the floor, they do and should have the 5 best players on the court at one time for at least like 95% of the time. And the fact that we're not winning more, I guess, and yeah, it's been one game so far in the Olympics that the U.S. team has had. But things need to change, and I know Adam Silver wants, the commissioner of the NBA, wants to get into changing some of the rules a bit, and I think that's obviously phenomenal. But I think that this right here is exactly what the NBA needs. I think it'll be a huge wake-up call for everyone, not only in the NBA but also like America. I don't know, like the game is growing, but it's not there yet where we should be expecting the United States to be losing games how they're, and they're not like, I mean, yeah, they're close losses, but if you ask me, like, if we'd be going into the Olympics losing 3 of the last 4, I'd probably think you're talking about another team, maybe like Spain, France, some other good team, but not a USA team. And obviously things need to change. So, obviously, hold on this is the outro. Before I shut it off, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. It's going to be a lot of basketball talk. If you guys want to like, subscribe. I'm not going to tell you to hit the post notification button, because actually do hit the post notification button, because I don't know how often I'm going to be uploading. I'm not going to lie. It's only my second video out here. But yeah, if you enjoy, stick around. If not, do you.